It was just a routine drive, a stretch of highway that cuts through the middle of nowhere, but for one driver, this journey would turn into a nightmare. This is the story of a haunting that defies explanation, where the line between reality and terror blurs. Tonight, we take you down a dark and lonely road, where one man's desperate drive to reach safety became a race against something far more sinister than he could have imagined. Mark had been on the road for hours. He'd driven this highway many times before, a straight shot through the countryside. It was past midnight, and the world outside was quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of stillness that feels unnatural, as though the night itself was holding its breath. As he drove deeper into the night, a strange sense of unease settled over him. It was the kind of feeling that creeps up on you slowly, like the cold chill of a winter wind brushing against the back of your neck. At first, it was just a fleeting glimpse, a shadow, barely visible in the rearview mirror standing at the edge of the road. Mark's heart skipped a beat as he caught sight of it, but when he looked again, it was gone. He told himself it was nothing, just the tricks of a tired mind on a dark, empty road. But there's a feeling of being watched lingered, like a presence lurking just beyond the reach of his headlights. The farther Mark drove, the heavier the fog became. The road ahead seemed to stretch out endlessly, the darkness pressing in from all sides. He checked the clock. 2:14 a.m. The air inside the car grew colder, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones, making it hard to breathe. And then, there was a noise, a low, almost imperceptible thud, like something brushing against the car. Mark's knuckles whitened as he gripped the steering wheel tighter. He glanced in the rearview mirror again, and that's when he saw it. It was standing in the road, directly behind him. A figure, tall and shadowy, just standing there. It didn't move, didn't follow, but Mark could feel its gaze burning into the back of his head. His pulse quickened as panic set in. He pressed down on the gas, desperate to put as much distance between himself and whatever it was. But no matter how fast he drove, the figure stayed in his mind, haunting him like a dark specter clinging to his thoughts. And then, the radio. It had been playing nothing but static for hours. But now, a voice. Low, distorted, and faint, but Mark could hear it clearly. It was whispering his name. He turned the dial, trying to switch it off, but the voice only grew louder. It repeated his name, over and over, like a mantra. Mark's blood ran cold. His mind raced, but no explanation made sense. How could someone know his name? As the voice grew louder, Mark felt it, the cold presence beside him. He dared not look, but in his peripheral vision, he saw it, sitting in the passenger seat. A shadowy figure, unmoving, but its weight pressed down on him like an invisible hand squeezing his chest. His heart raced, his hands trembling as he gripped the wheel. He couldn't look. He couldn't bear to see what was sitting next to him. All he knew was that it wasn't human. Mark's mind was screaming at him to get away. His foot pressed harder on the gas, the engine roaring as the car sped down the dark road. The fog grew thicker, the shadows closing in. But no matter how fast he drove, the figure remained, silent, still, and suffocating. And then, in the distance he saw it, an old gas station, its neon sign flickering in the darkness like a beacon of hope. Salvation. He stumbled out of the car, heart racing, breath coming in ragged gasps. The gas station was deserted, its neon sign buzzing faintly in the cold night air. He looked back at the car, expecting to see the figure still sitting there. But the passenger seat was empty. But the feeling of dread never left him. He knew it wasn't over. He could still feel it, lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting. Some say that road is cursed, that those who drive it alone at night are never truly alone. Mark was one of the lucky ones. He made it out. But many others weren't so fortunate. Their stories remain untold, their fates lost to the dark. If you ever find yourself driving alone down a dark road and you feel like something is watching you, trust your instincts. Roads hold secrets, and some of them refuse to stay buried. If you've ever experienced something strange or terrifying, share it with us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life horror stories. Hit the notification bell, because you never know what's waiting for you just around the corner.